All right, we're going to give this another try. My name's Steve Aldrich. I thought it might be a good idea to go ahead and do a recording of me going through and doing an assessment. Not that I'm so good at it, just that, hey, you might not know even where to start. So here we go. I actually did one a little bit ago and got into the comments, reading through the comments in the proposal where the proposer actually said, hey, I've withdrawn this, but had failed to withdraw it. So I had to stop that recording. We're going to start all over again. So we'll go ahead and share my screen. We'll grab Brave Browser and share. And there we go. Okay, so I don't know what happens here. I guess I should look and see. Anyhow, so what I do want to do is make certain that the value onboarding is turned off here because I do have a proposal. I'm on the CA tool where it suggests proposals that have no or very few assessments so that we can kind of focus our efforts on those. And I happen to have a proposal in value onboarding, so I'm clearing that that challenge out so it won't suggest I can't do a CA work within a challenge that I have a proposal in. So suggest proposal, and here we go. DeFi and micro lending. Well, this is actually the same one that give me a different one. Okay, so here we go. Atala Prism did mass scale adoption. PACE community credentials. Problem statement is there is a lack of tools, examples for community projects to easily integrate Atala Prism, which reduces the speed of adoption. The problem solution is to create tools for community projects to issue participation and completion credentials that will help drive Atala Prism adoption. And relevant experience, 5 years of web and mobile development experience, 1 year strategic consulting, and funded for Catalyst focused proposals, that's a plural, in Fund 5. So this person has several proposals that have been funded in previous funds, and maybe continuing on from those. So we'll click through and we'll find out. This thing actually says that it has one assessment so far. And this is updated regularly, but it's not a live update. So here we go. Go to proposal. This will take us directly into Idea Scale, where we can see this proposal. The proposal is actually by George Lovegrove. So that's good. And Jacob Decott, a couple of well-known folks in the community. And here's the image. So we can click and click the plus here, get a little bit bigger size. And they're kind of giving us an idea of what the credentials might look like. There's a lack of tools, examples for community projects to easily integrate Atala Prism, which reduces the speed of adoption. And their solution is to create tools for community projects to issue participation and completion credentials that will help drive Atala Prism adoption. Their relevant experience, again, we read this. So they do have a GitHub, says a website or GitHub repository, and this happens to be the website that George is responsible for. He and some other folks are working on this. And we get into, and we could click through on this link and go to that page to see progress. For right now, we'll skip that. So an overview: self-sovereign identity will become an important part of a growing amount of decentralized applications being developed on Cardano. For the Project Catalyst community, the use of an identity solution can help with allowing community members to build up a reputation and trust in a way that can be self-owned and verified. Atala Prism will offer the building blocks to start creating a digital identity where people will have ownership of that identity and can verify it to other people and protocols. Purpose of this proposal is to develop tools and provide examples for some of the foundational blocks of Italo Prism initial implementation of self-sovereign identity, SSI. Cool, I don't know that I've seen that acronym before. This includes both decentralization identifiers, DIDs, or decentralized identifiers, and verifiable credentials. The proposal will help projects establish themselves as issuers and provide credentials to community members based on certain conditions. The initial verifiable credentials for this proposal will focus on verifying participation and completion within community projects. This work can be expanded on in the future proposals, where we can also look at how trust and reputation networks could be introduced using such things as aid as a trust collateral or endorsements from trusted people for helping with reputation. This initial proposal addresses the challenge as it aims to provide a simple way for the community to start using the identity credentials. Okay, so now this is an important kind of distinction that's being made here. What they're saying is, hey, the challenge is Italo Prism did mass scale adoption. That's the challenge. And we could click here. Here, let's just do this. Open this in a new window. Oh, I can't do that. I got to do a tab because it won't record. So here's a new tab. Let's skip over this tab. And we can read what the campaign brief is. And we can see, the key metrics that are expected and what does success look like. All right, so let's go back to what they're saying here. So they're saying this initial proposal addresses the challenge as it aims to provide a simple way for the community to start using the identity solution using Italo Prism. So they're saying this is how we're addressing the challenge. We're giving the community a way to start identifying the solution. This allows the community to build up their knowledge on its importance and also helps provide open source examples for other developers looking to integrate Italo Prism. So this is a good point here as well, open source and for other folks to use. Increasing awareness and usage of Italo Prism identity in the community, along with helping speed up developers' integration of the identity solution by providing examples. This should help with driving faster adoption of Italo Prism. So they've really encapsulated here in this paragraph how they're addressing the challenge statement for Fund 6, Italo Prism did mass scale adoption. So example credentials. Okay, so this a couple of credentials that they would be issuing, or examples of the kinds of credentials that they could issue on top of Italo Prism. The following two examples where you could issue some simple participation and completion credentials. Other projects could use the same source code to achieve similar outcome. Exclamation point. Yes, that's true. Catalyst Swarm attendance. Issue an attendance credential to people who attend after town halls or weekend sessions to let people know who's active in the community sessions. Also, Catalyst School workshop completion. Issue a completion credential to people who've completed a Catalyst School workshop to showcase their new knowledge. So they would have some sort of a credential, and we've seen kind of what they're expecting that might look like. It's just a little badge of sorts, and got a little check mark, says, hey, this has been verified by whoever the Swarm or Catalyst School. So that's pretty cool. The tools, the first and main part of this proposal is providing tools necessary for the community project to issue credentials to another person that has an Italo Prism identity wallet. These tools will make use of VCs and DIDs. So this is verified credentials, I think was what that VC, I'm expecting it to be a venture capitalist. Verifiable credentials and DIDs, decentralized identification. And the idea behind the code for these tools is that other community projects could copy it and change what they want to about the credentials and use it for their own use case. So then we get into projectcatalyst.org, verify integration. The additional similar part of this proposal is provided an example of how you could verify an issued credential. The verification step consists of checking the credential against the trusted issuer address and that it is valid. We'll integrate the validation or verification process into our website to showcase a simple example of verifying a credential by letting community members add their credential to their profile. This added example will guide other projects integrating Atala Prism on how they could verify credentials in their own applications. Okay, development steps. After the launch of Atala Prism, we attend and learn from the associated pioneers programs. Determine appropriate data to add to the participation and completion credentials. Develop the tools needed to issue and verify credentials for the project team. Document steps to issue credentials to a given community member. Integrate the verification of given credential issued by respective project teams so that they can be added to the projectcatalyst.org community member profile. So they've laid out, here's how we're going to go about it. First we got to attend the Pioneer program, then we're going to do these other things and get things set up, and then we're going to integrate this into our website. So this is a nice little use case and kind of a guide is what they're saying. So other people can learn how to do this. Education workshop. After we've completed development of the tools for issuance and accepting credentials for community projects, along with verifying examples on the website, we can then look at providing a workshop at the after town hall and answer questions, support other projects looking to integrate Atala Prism. So they're saying, hey, we're not only going to build this thing, then we're going to go and we're going to teach people how to utilize it and lessons learned and all of that sort of thing. In the workshop, we will showcase the product, reveal our projects, how projects can use the credentialing system. And remember, this is open source code on the Project Catalyst website, and discuss different examples. Depending on the feedback, we will iterate and use the input to further develop the product for upcoming funding rounds. So they're telling us straight up, hey, we might come back. So the roadmap. In short, an accurate delivery timeline would be difficult to provide for this proposal, as work has the prerequisite of having Atala Prism available to develop with. It has been mentioned previously that this should be available in Q4 of 2021, so that's coming up pretty soon. Once the date is confirmed and the documentation is available, it will become easier to determine more exact dates of delivery. We can provide a roadmap for the development work to be completed, where it should likely take anywhere between 5 to 7 weeks to develop after Atala Prism is available, followed by at least 4 weeks for onboarding, monitoring, and collecting feedback. The completion time could be slightly reduced or extended based on how easy it is to work with Atala Prism in its first iteration after launch, which for the moment is an unknown at the time of finalizing this proposal. So they're saying 3 months development of the proposal, launch and start integration within the community. At 6 months monitoring analysis of results, should finish completion report, and 12 months, the proposal should already be completed. So this is one of the things that we're the check boxes for. You should see this in every proposal where they're saying, hey, at a 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, what are we anticipating things are going to look like for us as a project? And then they go into feasibility. The technology, the PACE team joined the Atala Prism after town hall and confirmed that the core parts of self-sovereign identity, DIDs and verifiable credentials will be functional when Atala Prism is launched. And they're saying, hey, take a look at this video, YouTube video. This proposal, as a result, is technically feasible after the launch date of Atala Prism as planned and builds upon some of the core concepts of self-sovereign identity. The team, George has spent a couple of months already looking at self-sovereign identity space in a previous proposal, and he gives a link to that, and has over 5 years development experience in web and mobile apps. The impact, am I remembering this wrong? Didn't we have more than just George? Yeah, Jacob's in here. So why are we only learning about George? Okay, George, you should have taken some time and gotten Jacob in here as well. But okay, impact awareness. By helping existing community projects, the execution of this proposal should help to provide increasing awareness to people who join the community and get involved in different ecosystem projects. A community adoption by showcasing the possibilities of participation and completion credentials for the community projects. The community adoption of Atala Prism will increase. Developer adoption. Examples of integrating Atala Prism will help speed up other developers integrating solutions into their own applications, and so potentially help other developers generate ideas. Shared learnings. Our experience of creating tools to help the community will provide useful learnings, and we can share with the community. Okay, so then they've given us, okay, so here's the feasibility, here's the impact. Now they're going to talk about auditability. It's open source code, so the code developed for this proposal will be open source, free to use by the community, and easy to audit both its progress and the final result. Finished documentation of any of our proposals can be found on the community site, projectcatalyst.org, and our GitHub repository. And here you go, their GitHub repository is listed. To see an overview of the entire PACE team information and active and funded proposals, you can visit our documentation, which is Notion. Yeah, and then our weekly development updates can be found here. So this is a team that says, hey, we are gonna, we're giving you weekly updates already on all the other stuff that we're doing. Here's what we've done previously in these other projects, and here's our website with lots of information and our GitHub. So it's pretty good. The workshop after developing the Atala Prism solution will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Yay, that's good. All right, success metrics. How are we going to know that we have successfully accomplished this thing? Number of credentials issued and verified. So they're going to count how many of these credentials have been issued and then consumed by a website or something, verified. One metric to assess success would be trying to attract a large number of the community to engage with using the solution to get participation or completion credentials. We can track how many people are issued credentials by community projects, and also know how many try verifying the credential on their website after the first few months of completing the proposal development work. Usage of the source code and technical discussion. So they're saying, hey, we're going to build a product and we can measure how that product does, but there's another dimension here. The usage of other folks of their source code and technical discussions could be an important metric to measure. And I don't disagree. A more qualitative success metric will be helping other projects start using Atala Prism, because this really speaks to what the challenge wants. The challenge wants mass scale adoption for Atala Prism, and a single product using it or project using it is good. But man, getting other projects to use it and showing them how to, that's the next level stuff. All right, so then what success looks like. Well, the success of this proposal will be defined by community projects having an easy way to issue credentials that are valued by an increasing amount of members of the community as the tools get adopted. A write-up of any conversations and other project teams have benefited from the workshop or discussions about Atala Prism will also help to highlight value brought by the execution of this proposal. Budget. Okay, so now we're going to get into, okay, well, what kind of money do we need? The Atala Prism Pioneer Program, no time is included for the budget, in the budget for the time spent on the Atala Prism Pioneer Program. This would be out of the team's own personal time. So they're saying, hey, we're not going to bill for this time, this is personal time. And then time required 10 weeks, 40 hours times 10 weeks. So 40 hours a week for 10 weeks, 400 hours. Time allocation, research and analysis, 10%, product and design, 15%, development, 45%, maintenance, 5%, collaboration, 10%, and marketing, 15%. So the budget, 400 hours times $50 an hour is 20,000, and hosting and software 500. So they're saying, hey, we need a total of $20,500. And then they've got some follow-on stuff. Here's the team. The team currently consists of 2 people with background in software. And here we finally get Jacob listed. And then they give their social accounts and where on Discord can you find information about what they're doing. And here's the total requested funds listed correctly. It's funds listed in USD, no punctuation or dollar signs or anything. And they have indicated that they get emails. So they've kind of checked these all off, and that's all good. And then we're listening. Let's see. They're listing out some different some different resources where we could go and look and find out what they're working on, what they have done, and I'm not seeing anything as far as documentation about this specific proposal. So now we get down here, and before I go into the assessment process, I always like to look at the comments and see if the team replied to questions. So here we see, Catalyst Swarm came in and said, hey, great project proposal. You have our full support for your project. And George says, hey, thanks, with a heart. And then Martin says, hey, I'm also working on a proposal for Prism. Thing is served, blah, 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 blah. And here's a link to Martin's thing. And I don't see a response there. Quasar came in and left a comment. He said he'd recommend removing additional co-proposers because it exhausts the user's kudos. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, co-proposers were removed, and then I guess added back in. And then here's a response from Payman saying, hey, you're requesting 0 for this proposal. Well, that was early on where they were still working on it, so we'll add the budget in the coming weeks, which they did do. Many of my ideas are relying quite heavily on Prism, so I think this is great. Won't be working much on the development side. General goal of build knowledge. Easier to... Okay, and this did not get a response. So maybe it didn't actually require one at that point in time, because it didn't sound like that person was saying, hey, it wasn't a question. Okay, so that's all good. That's the comments that we see activity there. Now, do be aware that you might be tempted to click this assess button here, and that's really actually not the correct. You need to be on the activity tab to do the Catalyst assessment. So we'll go ahead and get started here. This proposal effectively addresses the challenge. Yeah, sure does. I strongly agree with that because it is all about helping adoption. So the team has a good job of defining how this proposal, Stephen, type better, answers the challenge. I don't know that I can really actually say too much more about that. Okay, so you see the check mark here says that, okay, so the auto save on my stars has already occurred, and now I'll save my note, and that's good. And I can always come back here and edit it. And, team doesn't need to be capitalized here. I have a bad problem with capitalizing words that I think are important words in a sentence rather than capitalizing them according to proper capitalization rules. Given the experience and the plan presented is highly likely this proposal will be implemented successfully. So here's what I want to say about this. I would strongly agree with the experience, and they do have a solid plan, but there's a risk in here. And that risk, let's see if any of you can say it before I say it. The risk was actually identified here in the beginning of this, where they actually told us what it was. Hang on now, I'm having difficulty finding it because they did say after the launch of Atala Prism, we'll attend and learn from the Associated Pioneers program, but we don't have a date around this. We don't know when this is going to happen. And, in Cardano, it could happen straight away, or it could happen in 6 months. We just don't know. So that's a risk. So I would give this a strongly agree if it weren't for that, because the plan admits to a risk, a timeline risk here. So I'm going to give this an agree, and then I want to explain why that is. The team did a great job of identifying the risk concerning the Atala Prism Pioneers program start date. Okay, now let's see if I can come back here and fix some of this stuff up. Why is Atala not? Oh, well, Atala is correct. I need to tell this to add to dictionary. Okay, and here, let's stretch this out a little bit so I got a little more room. This risk prevents my giving this prop a 5-star rating. Assuming that Pioneer program happens quickly, this project has a very high potential for success. All righty, save that note. Now, information provided is sufficient to audit the progress and the success of the proposal. I'm going to say that this is a 5 because this is a team who has clearly demonstrated that they provide lots of progress reports and they stay in touch with the community on what they're working on, and they have provided us. This is our roadmap. This is what we're going to do. Here's the the budget, and these are the things that we're going to accomplish. So I'm going to say the proposer. That doesn't need to be parenthetical. The proposers have done an excellent job in the past of reporting and providing clarity about progress on projects. Given our only risk having to do with the timing of the Pioneers program, confident that we'll be informed about progress correctly. All right, and I could go into more detail here about the fact that if there is a long delay in Atala Prism coming on board, as far as the Pioneer program, well, then the distribution of funds that it's being asked for here, since it comes out in tranches over a period of time, would just go on hiatus and wait for them to be able to show progress. So I could go in and I could continue to talk here about that to make the voter feel good about that. But I'm not going to bother with that right now. That might be a good way to go, but I'm going to say, let's save this note. All right, so let's take a look here and make certain that I'm happy with the way this is looking. Oh, and by the way, this NA with the checkbox, just ignore that. It's an idea scale artifact that we're unable to get rid of. So we're just trying to be patient about that. So the proposal effectively addresses the challenge. I gave up 5 stars, and yeah, they did a good job of defining that, and it does. Given experience in planning, and a lot of people say, hey, you got to have a lot more words in here. If you want to get flowery and you want to write a whole bunch of information in here, I don't know, it makes sense to say more, but I'm just trying to get through here and have this recording done for y'all. Given experience and the plan presented is highly likely this proposal will be implemented successfully. So if you remember, I gave that a 4, and the reason was because we have a risk. So here's my explanation. So I'm kind of happy with all of this. I don't need to change anything else, and there is no need to do anything at this point. These have been saved, and they are part of the list of assessments that are put on this proposal. This next button has no functionality outside of just taking you to the next proposal in the list that that IdeaScale has. And I'm not even certain what they use to determine what's next. So in any case, it doesn't have any impact on this page right here. The saving process is when you click a star and make a change, it will give you a check mark and you know that that's been done. And then when you edit something and add characters or whatever, and then you click save note, it is saved and you are done. Okay, so that was it. I hope that's informative, and I didn't droll on too long here, or drone on, I guess. Anyhow, I am going to stop the share, and thank you for watching this, and I hope that it was useful.